The global trade and political landscape has taken a dramatic turn. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has once again ignited controversy by announcing a significant expansion of tariffs on imported steel and aluminum. This move goes beyond simply reinstating past trade restrictions. Trump is intensifying them. Steel imports will now face a steep 25% tariff, while aluminum imports will also be hit with additional taxes. But that's not all. Trump has proposed a new reciprocal tariff system, meaning that if another country imposes high import taxes on American goods, the U.S. will respond with equally tough tariffs. As expected, this decision has sent shockwaves throughout the global economy, particularly among America's closest trading partners. The European Union and Canada, two of the largest buyers of American goods, accounting for over $550 billion worth of trade annually, are among the most vocal in their opposition. If these nations retaliate with their own tariffs, the consequences could be widespread, potentially disrupting industries, businesses, and jobs across the U.S. Just as tensions over tariffs were escalating, Trump made a statement that stunned many. During an interview with Fox News, he floated the idea that Canada should become the 51st state of the United States. He argued that the U.S. suffers an economic loss in its trade relationship with Canada. "I think Canada would be much better off as part of the U.S. because we lose $200 billion a year with them, and I'm not going to let that happen," Trump stated. His comments didn't stop there. He also criticized Canada's military spending, claiming that the country relies too heavily on U.S. defense support without making significant financial contributions. "Why are we protecting another country?" he asked. For those who thought it was an offhand remark, Trump repeated his stance in another interview before the Super Bowl. He suggested that Canada is dependent on the U.S. both economically and militarily, and his solution was simple: absorb Canada into the U.S. as a new state. These remarks immediately sparked a strong backlash across Canada. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau quickly dismissed Trump's suggestion, calling it an insult to the deep historical and diplomatic ties between the two nations. Politicians from across the political spectrum stood united in opposition, firmly rejecting the notion of Canada losing its sovereignty. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh took a particularly aggressive approach. Outraged over Trump's new tariffs, he proposed a bold countermeasure: a 100% tariff on Tesla vehicles. Singh specifically targeted Tesla because its CEO, Elon Musk, has been one of Trump's most vocal supporters. "If Trump and his billionaire friends think they can push Canada around, we need to push back," Singh declared. Singh also called for a significant incentive program to bolster Canada's electric vehicle (EV) industry, suggesting a $10,000 rebate for Canadian-made EVs. His aim was to strengthen domestic manufacturing and reduce reliance on American imports. Canada's ambassador to France, Stéphane Dion, also addressed Trump's comments, dismissing them as reckless. "If Canada isn't a viable country, then show me one that is," Dion said, emphasizing that such rhetoric contradicts international norms and even violates principles outlined in the United Nations Charter. Industry Minister François-Philippe Champagne highlighted the crucial role that Canadian steel and aluminum play in the U.S. economy. He pointed out that these materials aren't just ordinary commodities. They are essential to key American industries such as defense, shipbuilding, and automobile manufacturing. "Canadian steel and aluminum keep U.S. industries running," Champagne stated. "We're going to keep standing up for our workers and businesses." Catherine Cobden, head of the Canadian Steel Producers Association, issued a stark warning about the impact of Trump's 25% tariffs. "These tariffs would be a disaster, plain and simple," she cautioned, stressing that they would hurt both American and Canadian industries. If the U.S. refuses to grant an exemption, she is calling for immediate retaliation. This trade conflict is no longer just about economic policy, it is spilling over into national security concerns. Pierre Poilievre, leader of Canada's Conservative Party, is advocating for a stronger military presence in the Arctic, arguing that Canada must reinforce its sovereignty in the region. His plan includes constructing a new Arctic military base, doubling the number of Inuit Rangers from 2,000 to 4,000. Acquiring 2 additional polar icebreakers to fund this initiative, Poilievre has proposed cutting foreign aid, particularly targeting what he calls wasteful and corrupt grants. He argues that national defense should come first, especially with growing concerns over Russian activity in the Arctic. Poilievre has also taken a strong stance on trade, vowing to respond aggressively to Trump's tariffs. "If I were Prime Minister, we wouldn't just complain, we'd fight fire with fire. I'd impose the same tariffs on American steel and aluminum," he declared. He even suggested using revenue from the tariffs to cut taxes for Canadian businesses and consumers. Ontario Premier Doug Ford echoed similar sentiments, condemning Trump's tariffs as unjustified, unfair, and frankly illegal. While he expressed a preference for strengthening North American trade, he warned, "If they push us, we'll push back." Canada is not the only country preparing to retaliate. The European Union is also ready to respond. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen warned that if the US proceeds with these tariffs, the EU will not hesitate to take action. The European Union will not accept unfair treatment, the Commission stated. "We are fully prepared to protect our businesses, workers, and consumers." French President Emmanuel Macron weighed in during a CNN interview, questioning why the US was targeting Europe instead of focusing on its primary economic competitor China. "Is the European Union your biggest problem?" "No, I don't think so," Macron said. "Your first problem is China, so maybe focus on that." Macron also pointed out that these tariffs could end up harming American consumers. "Do Americans really want higher prices?" he asked, suggesting that such policies might backfire. Germany is also prepared to take swift action. Chancellor Olaf Scholz made it clear that the EU could implement countermeasures immediately. "We can act within an hour if necessary," he warned. While Trump's tariffs are intended to protect American industries, they could end up isolating the US economically. In response, Canada and the EU are working to strengthen their trade relationship to reduce dependence on the US. Canada is expanding trade with Europe through the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, which has been in effect since 2017. However, many Canadian businesses still struggle to navigate the complexities of the agreement. To address this, Ottawa is ramping up efforts to support small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, in accessing European markets. The EU is also focused on securing reliable sources of critical minerals, such as nickel and aluminum, that are essential for electric vehicles and clean energy technologies. Canada, as one of the world's top suppliers, is seen as a key partner in this effort. Beyond trade, both Canada and the EU are working to make it easier for skilled professionals, such as architects and engineers, to work across borders. Efforts to recognize professional qualifications under CETA are expected to enhance economic collaboration. With mounting tensions between Canada, the EU, and the US, both Canada and Europe are positioning themselves for a future where they are less reliant on American trade policies. Trump's latest tariffs may not only trigger retaliatory measures but could also accelerate long-term shifts in global economic alliances. As these developments continue to unfold, the world will be watching closely to see how governments respond and what the future holds for international trade.